let me ask you something. How private are you really? Because if you watched part 1, you already know that oversharing is the fastest way to hand people your power. But here's the thing. There's more. There are subtler things you might be giving away without even realizing it. Hello, fellow warriors. Welcome or welcome back to the Goddess of War. This is part 2 of what you should never tell anyone. So let's continue with the rest of my list, starting with number 4. The 4th thing you should always keep to yourself is your weaknesses and vulnerabilities. That includes your traumas, your triggers, your failures, your secrets, and all the things you feel insecure about. Believe it or not, I actually get a lot of pushback on this one, especially from women who believe that being open and vulnerable is a sign of being feminine. And while I don't disagree that vulnerability can be beautiful, there's a big difference between being emotionally open and being emotionally unfiltered. You don't sit next to a stranger on a train and start telling them your life story or your personal details, right? Because it's not necessary at that moment. And you have no idea what that person might do with that information. It's the same thing with emotional vulnerability. When you give people access to your most sensitive information before you've even had the chance to figure out who they really are, that's unregulated behavior. And that kind of openness can easily backfire. Next thing you know, a man you're dating is telling you that you should be grateful for the bare minimum he does, because at least he's not treating you like your ex did. Or a jealous friend might say something like, "Wow, how does someone with a past like yours end up with such a great guy?" Or maybe someone who is going to invest in your amazing business idea suddenly backs out because they heard your last project went bankrupt, even though no one mentioned it wasn't your fault. That's the danger of oversharing your weaknesses. Your vulnerabilities can become someone else's favorite weapon against you because they already know exactly where to hit. And the truth is, we never really know how people will act when they want the upper hand, when they feel like they're losing, or when they feel hurt and want to get back at you. So don't hand people the weapons they could use to hurt you later. Protect your soft spots until you know someone is truly safe to trust. The 5th thing you should keep to yourself are your plans, goals, and dreams. There are a lot of reasons for this. First of all, it protects you from competition, from sabotage, and from copycats. It also saves you from unwanted opinions, bad advice, and just overall negative energy. Because let's be honest, some people are just bad-minded. Keeping your plans private also gives you space to change your mind without dealing with 1,000 questions. You can pause or restart without anyone judging you for it. Some people hate feeling like they're being left behind. So the moment you start doing something, whether it's losing weight, picking up a new hobby, or starting a business, they suddenly want to do it too. And sometimes that turns into competition. There are people who can't come up with ideas on their own, but the minute you mention your candle business or your new project, suddenly it's something they've always wanted to do. The same goes for purchases. All of a sudden, the bag you've been saving for or the car you've been eyeing becomes their new obsession. Then there are the ones who always have something to say. You tell them you want to start a business, and they hit you with, 50% of small businesses fail, right? Like, thanks for the encouragement. That kind of energy is not what you need when you're trying to build something. There are ways to be realistic without being discouraging. Of course, there will always be certain people you want to share things with, your small trusted circle. But before you tell anyone your plans, do a quick little checklist in your mind. Ask yourself, do I actually want this person's opinion? Are they the type to discourage or sabotage me? Would I care if they copied me or tried to do something similar? Are they likely to tell other people what I said? And here's the thing. The answer is yes until they've proven otherwise. Another good reason to keep your plans quiet is that some people will try to include themselves in them. You'll mention an idea or project and suddenly they're like, "Oh, I'd love to help." And now you're stuck either letting them tag along to be polite or going through that awkward moment of telling them you'd rather do it alone. So sometimes it's just easier and smarter to move in silence until things are ready to show. The next thing you should keep private might surprise you, but it's the main reason so many people feel burnt out without knowing why. So the 6th thing you should keep to yourself is your free time. Most people don't even think about this one until they learn the hard way that there are few things people take more personally than realizing you have time and still don't want to spend it with them. If you've ever mentioned having a day off or taking some time to yourself, and someone instantly says, "Oh, maybe we could do lunch," or "Can you help me with this real quick?" then you know exactly what I mean. Maybe all you wanted was a quiet day to relax, to do nothing, to reset your mind. Or maybe you had your own little plans, catching up on chores, doing some self-care, or just enjoying silence. But for some people, all they hear is, "I have free time. I just don't want to spend it with you." And that can make them feel hurt or even think you're pulling away. Maybe your family knows you have a more flexible work schedule, so they ask you to run errands or help out, not realizing that you were hoping to use that time just to rest and finally get some sleep. Or maybe your coworkers find out you're off today and start texting about work stuff anyway, thinking, "Oh, she's home, she's probably free." It happens all the time. This one isn't necessarily dangerous, but it can create unnecessary tension or guilt when you just want to relax. Sometimes, people will take your downtime personally, when really it's not about them at all. So to avoid all that, keep your schedule, especially your free time, private. You don't need to announce every break, day off, or quiet evening. Protect your time, just like you protect your energy. The seventh thing you should keep to yourself are your family drama and family secrets. Just like in relationships, family drama tends to stick in people's minds long after you've moved on. You and your family might have made peace and moved forward, but the people you opened up to will still remember every detail. They'll hold on to it, bring it up later, and sometimes even use it against your loved ones. And some people, especially those who don't have strong family bonds, will make things sound worse than they are. They'll take one small disagreement and blow things completely out of proportion. They'll tell you things like, "You don't need them," or "They're toxic, just cut them off." Now, sometimes that advice might actually be right, because let's be honest, not every family member deserves access to you. There are people who are deeply problematic, even if they're your closest relatives. But other times, people say those things not because they care, but because they want you isolated or more dependent on them. Some men will even try to pull you away from your own family, just to push you closer to theirs. So the key is to know the difference, and never let someone who wouldn't lift a finger for you convince you to walk away from the people who truly would. And there's another layer. When you share bad things about your family, people may project those traits onto you. You've heard the saying, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree." I've heard people use that line, "You're just like your mother," or "You're no different from your dad," not as a compliment, but as an insult. They take the little bit of vulnerability you shared, maybe that you had a rough upbringing or went through family issues, and they twist it into a label. They use your past as proof that you're somehow damaged or difficult, when all you did was open up. And that's exactly why some things are better left unsaid. Because the moment you give people details about your family, some of them stop seeing you as you and start seeing you through the lens of your family's mistakes. So unless you're in danger or speaking to someone who's truly proven safe, keep family drama private. The eighth thing you should keep private is your opinion about your boss or anyone you dislike. This is something that should stay between you and maybe one or two people you fully trust. You don't need to tell your coworkers, your friends from work, or anyone who could repeat it later. Because once people know how you really feel about someone, that information can travel fast, and it usually doesn't end well. I've seen people lose their jobs because they trusted the wrong person at work. They complained about their boss, and that friend went straight to tell him, just to look good or out of jealousy and competition. So be careful who you share your opinions with. Even if you think someone is on your side, keep in mind that everyone has their own agenda. At work, silence is protection. You can think whatever you want, just don't give people the words they can use against you later. Now here's a little bonus thing to keep private. Your random thoughts. We really need to normalize writing down our random thoughts instead of saying them out loud, because not every idea that pops into your head needs to be shared. Sometimes it's just a quick passing thought, something you never plan to act on, and you might even forget about it later. But the problem is, other people don't forget. You could say one random thing, and that's the only thing they'll remember about you. Maybe you say, "I think I have a bit of a way with men," and suddenly the women around you think you're trying to steal their boyfriends. Maybe you joke about how you'd rob a bank because you are broke, and next time something goes missing, people are side-eyeing you. It sounds crazy, but people hold on to the weirdest things. And when they feel jealous or threatened, they start connecting dots that don't even exist. So if you're not with people who really know you, don't share every thought that crosses your mind. Write it down. Call your mom, your sister, or your best friend instead. Some things are better kept between you and your notes. So that was my privacy checklist. But the truth is, your life is your own. Some of us are more private, others are less, and that's okay. You get to decide what feels right for you, with your money, your goals, your relationships, and your struggles. Whatever you don't feel comfortable sharing, you have every right to keep to yourself, whether it's just for now, for a while, or forever. I'm just here to give you a few guidelines, something to help you start thinking about what privacy means to you. So take what fits and leave what doesn't. It's time to unleash your inner confident goddess. See you in the next video, warrior.